out next week. We're not breaking up. It's just a new phase for us. He's moving in with his brother, and he's always dreamed of living with his little brother. So who am I to get in the way of that? He's gonna live with his little brother, like, now's the time to do it. But don't get me wrong, when he first told me the idea, I was like, what the fuck?
There's so many things. So many things about that video. I honestly think that that woman wants him to move out. I think him deciding to move out because he's always wanted to live with his younger brother, as if childhood wasn't enough for him. I think she probably realized afterwards, you know what? It actually sucks. Oh, look at the dog. Aw. It actually sucks living with men, because for most women, it sucks living with men. She could also be doing the delusional thing where she's like, yeah, like we're totally going to be together. You know what? Most relationships shouldn't end in marriage. Maybe this is a way for both of them to kind of like quiet quit. But I actually want to talk about something else that could be going on, because this is something that I faced as someone who's been kind of writing about my dating life and being very public with it for a long time. It's the trap of talking about your relationships online. Now, whether it is in front of a large audience or just Facebook or whatever, a lot of times it's humiliating for women to have to admit to all their fans, you know, or even just their family and friends on Facebook, that this relationship that people wanted so badly to work out is failing. So one of the things that actually was probably the most humiliating thing when I dated that abusive guy was he was my first relationship, right? Now, I had been doing comedy and storytelling and had been writing, but hadn't really gotten anything published at the time when I started dating him. I was 36 years old. I had just been had been in New York and moved back to New Mexico, ended up waiting tables and falling for this dude and like wasting a whole year of my life. Ugh. But at that point in time, I had several podcasts and all kinds of stories out there of me like forking clowns and all kinds of stuff, y'all. And so I was known in the New York like storytelling world as like the chick who lived in her truck that no one can believe isn't dead yet. And also the perpetually single woman who has terrible dating experiences or just, hate forks, one night stands, whatever. 2 of the times I won them off was for crazy dating stories. One was the like fork or fight situation. I don't know if I've told y'all that story yet, of like a cage fighter and me forking this dude. Anyway, I won with dating the guy who had a fake ear, the former Mormon. That's right. Anyway, that was my thing. Bad dating experiences. And the problem about talking about your love life online is that, the internet's forever. And even if it's not on the internet, even if it's just live stories, because most of those stories are not, they're not online anywhere. It's still like a thing like that you're known for, right? And so when I finally got into a relationship, and everyone knew that I was like, I'm not into relationships. I don't care. I'm the independent woman who sleeps. And they literally used to introduce me before I went on stage in New York as like, we can't believe this woman hasn't been like unalived yet. Like, how is this woman still alive? Because every story I told was completely nuts. And so I finally got into a relationship at the age of 36. And even though I knew this man was like terrible boyfriend material, trauma looking for a second act, totally manipulated by him, all of the things, right? This man totally lied and did all kinds of things and, hit all of the right, daddy issues and everything. Everything it was literally my childhood trauma being worked out with someone else. And oh, what a mistake that was. But people, it was the first time in my life I could post photos online of me like with a partner. I had never done that before. I was the perpetually single woman. I was traveling, taking photos, at Six Flags and like Carlsbad Cavern and like this crazy thing on the side of the road, because that's also what I'm known for, is traveling and seeing like the most random crap, right? But having that with a partner, people believe in love. They want love, partly because, that's human nature to want to love, but also social conditioning, right? Under patriarchy, is that a woman is like not complete until she's found a partner, and especially not complete until she's had a baby. So I was finally like doing the thing that I'm supposed to do. I was finally dating for the first time, really, at the age of 36. Everyone was so happy for me. When I changed my Facebook status to in a relationship, I think I got more likes from that than anything I've ever posted, other than my wedding. And the only reason I changed my status was because of him. He changed his status without talking to me only a few weeks into us dating as like in a relationship. Now, this should have been a red flag, y'all, but I didn't. At the time, I just ignored every single red flag and also didn't realize how important and big these red flags were. So he changed on Facebook to in a relationship with Melanie Hamlin. And so what I could have done and should have done was wait till I was ready. But I felt pressured to do it. Maybe I intuitively sensed that this man's an angry person and that I is very insecure and all the things that were ripe for abuse from this man, of course, or which led to abuse. So I changed it. It was like having to go public with something before I was ready. And people were so happy for me. They loved the idea that Melanie was finally in love. And so I convinced myself that I'm in love. You know what I mean? A lot of times, we can fall into something because of what other people, their influence of other people. And I didn't have the heart or even the courage or couldn't be like, well, this is temporary, because I never planned on dating this man. I literally fell into this thing. And then before I knew it, I was in a relationship. And I always knew I was going to be moving to LA at some point. Didn't know how long I was going to be in New Mexico, but I knew that this person and I were not compatible in the long term. We're just dating right now, but everyone's so happy for me, y'all. They're so happy for me because I was doing the thing that women have to do. And since I waited till 36, they were really excited for me because single women pose a threat to patriarchy. Happy single women who are following their dreams, who are doing careers that women aren't supposed to do, who are traveling alone and living their best life and not the least bit interested in relationships or babies. A lot of women envy us, because they're not happy with the dude they ended up with and their lot in life and have regrets. And a lot of that's because no one told them what it was actually going to be like. Their mothers lied to them about what marriage and motherhood would actually look like, especially if it's not with a partner who actually gives a crap or is going to do any of the work. Look at my dog. Aww. And so there's the jealousy aspect. And then there's a join the club aspect. Oh, Melanie Hamlet's finally doing it. So my choices in life are, legit. You know what I mean? This is why I will always, always support single women. It's hard to be single. There's so much pressure. I think that's, like I've said before, I think the stigma soon is going to be against married women. But still, to be a happy, thriving single woman, you have to justify your life on a regular basis. You have to convince people on a regular basis that you are actually happy doing this thing, doing your thing, not even caring about men. No one believes us. And so the fact that I was now participating in this thing that is normal for everyone but me, people were so happy for me. And again, a lot of it was really good motives, yay, because everyone does deserve love. Not necessarily romantic love. Maybe people, I don't even believe that, I believe people can have multiple partners and have love, whatever. I don't believe in the heteronormative crap. So at a certain point, I realized, oh my God, I am in something terrifying. And I started posting less photos. I started sharing less stories, and I just became silent because I couldn't live with myself lying about our relationship. I did the photos, I did whatever. In the beginning, I was just kind of delusional. Once I knew I was in a terrible situation with a terrible human being and an unsafe situation, there's no way I was going to be like, oh my God, I wasn't happy. Yeah. Because part of my storytelling has always been about what my truth is in that moment. And so it was humiliating when I finally went public, basically when I was on my way out of town, fleeing this abusive man, having gone to the cops, after he stole all my stuff. I was like, by the way, you guys, I've been in abusive relationships. I'm so sorry. So why am I talking about this now? I think a lot of women fall into a trap online. If a boyfriend is part of their shtick, it makes it so much harder to admit to yourself and to admit to your fans or the people who follow you or whatever that it's bad, that you don't want to be in it, or that he doesn't want to be in it and he's dumping you. And even if you're not a public figure or you don't have a large following or whatever, even to admit that to your friends, the ones who were rooting for you, the ones who really liked him because they didn't know him, I believe the shame of that keeps a lot of women in terrible situations, especially if most of their friends are partnered up and especially if most of their friends have children. Please don't fall into the trap of being with someone just because you're afraid of what other people are going to think. Because part of decentering men is also decentering all the programming around men and relationships and what women are supposed to do. Don't ruin your life trying to please people who don't have to live with the devastating consequences of you dating someone not good for you. I really think a lot of women are still with men who are awful for them because they're so afraid to face the shame from their family, their community, online people, even their friends. Decenter their opinions too, y'all. This is your life.